Plants vs. Zombies has come a long way. We're here at the Battle for Neighborville. Battle for Neighborville is the third in the line of the Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare series. Now, I even just like the name of that one. Garden Warfare, that sounds pretty good to me. It's a play on Modern Warfare, but Battlefield-esque. It's not what you'd expect to see at a Plants vs. Zombies.
No, definitely not. You know what? For me, this is actually the first Plants vs. Zombies game I've ever played. So I've only heard good things from other people, you yourself. So I was excited to jump into this, but let me tell you, getting right into it, it is a little daunting because there's a lot to do in this game, and I didn't quite know what to do at first, but what I did find is shortly into the game, you actually get a pretty good overview of the, kind of your main hub world that you live in for a good chunk of this game, and that's where a lot of the confusion set in. But once I was able to actually locate all the places in that world, I did find myself kind of moving around the world a little bit better. But at first I was a little like, I don't know if this game's for me. I'm actually already having a hard time. But you know what? It wasn't too long till I broke through that wall, and man, this game's a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad hearing you say that as like a newbie kind of to the game series, because if you played the first one, it was very basic. It was just like the last stand kind of scenario, and then a little bit of multiplayer. The second one really opened the gates on the multiplayer side. They just flushed out full big team battles. The hub world was an addition where it was kind of like a mansion, a kind of haunted mansion. It was really cool. But the third one now has gone even bigger with the full city in the middle. You get Neighborville between two different canyons, one for plants, one for zombies. It's pretty cool the way you load into the game. It's an online server, so there is kind of a lot of things right off the start. You see all these people running in and out. You see a bunch of different character types that maybe you don't have unlocked yet. It's really complicated right off the start. Luckily, I had the experience to get into that. But I even found some hidden things. I wasn't even sure exactly what was in this game until just recently now. I feel like I have pretty much a grip on it. There's a hidden single player that just continues on and on and on.
It just keeps going.
And you can do that for the plant side and the zombie side. There's a lot of content that kind of jammed into this hub world, and you might not notice everything until you've kind of really worked it out.
Exactly, because it is kind of such a busy environment in your face when you first get into it. There's a lot of info to take in and a lot of places to kind of, like, you know, I skimmed over a lot of places. I was like, all right, just get me into the gameplay first. Let me get a feel for the game, then I'll sort this out, you know, as I start to learn the game a little bit more. But what I did notice is right off the hop, when you jump into that main hub, it does prompt you to add another controller. So I was like, okay, well, let's try out this split screen co-op. So me and my girlfriend jumped on, but what I noticed right away is a lot of games you can jump on and sign in as a guest. So it'll be your Xbox Live gamer tag with little parentheses with a 1 in it. And that seems to work pretty well for most other games. But what I found in this game is I actually wasn't able to sign in as a guest. I had to have another Xbox Live account to play in split screen. So for that, I kind of thought that was a bit of a hit, because I'm like, I mean, not everybody has that, right? Or maybe it's just someone stopping by your house to hang out one time, doesn't have an Xbox, right? And it's a good game that you want to play with other people, and I did enjoy this game quite a bit more when I played it with somebody else. But I kind of thought that was like one little thing out of this whole game that I do find pretty good to kind of be a bit of a bummer overall.
Yeah, like I'm glad they added the co-op to it. Well, I mean, not added, it was in the other game as well, but just to bring that, just to bring somebody online with you does make the difference in these big team games. Now, it's so unfortunate that you need to have your own account, but I want to say that's just because of how complicated the game is, and you would want your own unlocks and to move your progress forward. And because the way you unlock things in this game is you have different characters, and they're all really wacky and weird.
Yeah, they all have their own kind of special abilities.
The plants are hilarious and cute. The zombies are kind of, you know, just silly tropes, but it's the progress in the game is worked out through the characters. The more you play as them, the more unlocks you get for them, and you can bring that into any kind of game mode.
Which I thought was kind of cool, because no matter what game mode you're playing, you're always progressing that character, and you know, some characters are better in certain game modes than others, so you do end up switching it up. You're not always just going to stick with one character and play through. You can if you want.
You can.
But I think there's enough character choices in this game that it's worth trying other characters, because they all have kind of different abilities that really lend, you know, into that team game, and I think it's worth kind of knowing about all of them.
Well, it seems like it's not that serious, but then you get behind the character differences, you get behind the
you're like, this game is very serious.
Oh yeah, it can get really deep. So there's a bunch of weird characters on the plants and the zombies side, and I think it does a really good job of like introducing you to each of the different kind of families of zombies or families of plants that you're going to interact with. And when you're talking to them, especially at the beginning of the game, I found that all of their dialogue is just so perfect, like so succinct. their character and what they're saying and who they are is usually represented in some weird kind of puns or something like that.
It's very well written. All the dialogue and audio in this game, when it comes to how you converse with other people, whether it be NPCs, it's just so well written. I mean, there's nothing about it. You know, when there's certain voiceover things, or sometimes there's certain, dialogue bubbles that you read, and you're just like, that doesn't quite make sense. In this game, everything's so clean, and you can tell it was all, pre-thought out, and everything, every decision you make in this game has some sort of kind of funny dialogue bubble that will pop up at some point during that decision-making process.
You might have to read it twice over because it doesn't quite make sense, but then you realize that it does. It's just a bunch of puns. Like, they must have spent a lot of time on it, and they did go without voiceovers, so they kind of do this Simlish, gibberish kind of sound, which is something that would normally annoy me, but I find that with all the different sounds in this game, it does kind of match that silly tone.
Yeah.
When the leafy characters are running around, you hear those leaves slap the ground and stuff like that. Like, it's a very not serious take on a game, but it has that depth that makes you wonder if it is a serious combat game or not.
Well, that's the thing, right? You get this kind of facade of this cartoony image where, everything is fun, exciting, but we kind of delve into this deeper game, this strategy that's involved when it comes to composing your teams and what characters you use and what, depending on what game modes you're playing, depending on what characters you want to have in there. And, it's nice to compose those teams with the people you're playing with, but at the other times, it's just that variety, I think, that people don't necessarily see right off the bat that makes these games and why we're already into it, a third iteration of it.
Well, and we're talking about variety, there's even more going on. They always have events that pop up in the hub world, different characters to talk to, and it kind of just, that extended experience. So there's a lot to this game. It's hefty.
It's busy. There's a lot more than I expected for a first timer, but it gets me excited because there's a lot of game to discover and play. So I think the value's there in this title too, because it is a fully priced title. I think the return is there because there's so much to, do, try, and I think everybody will find something in this game that they'll enjoy.
They've come a long way from PopCap's kind of small scale Plants vs. Zombies backyard thing.
Well, Scott, I think I'm all Plants and Zombies out for now, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to come back to it. But if we got to score this one right now, what do you think you're going to give it?
Well, being a kind of seasoned veteran, I like where this game went. I like how they've added on some of the things. I like the new characters. So I'm really in this one. I enjoyed the second game a lot. This one even more. I have to give this one a 9 out of 10. It's got me.
You know what? I'm right behind you. Being a newbie jumping into this, I didn't know what to expect. A lot deeper than I thought. The graphics were really good. I love the audio. The gameplay was a lot of fun. Controls were easy to figure out. Just a little busy at the beginning, but once you get past that, I think there's a ton of game here that you're going to enjoy. I'm giving it an 8.5. The multiplayer modes were great, and being able to have local play was nice as well. Overall, from the comical dialogue to the character customization, you'll definitely be sure to find something in this game that you're gonna love.
If you liked that video and you want to see more like it, go down to our channel and hit subscribe.